Good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlimle. We're on DTT because we're free to. We're on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, one person shot dead, 3 in critical condition at Otumfuo Timber Market as chaos broke this morning. Also this afternoon, Ghana's economy hits brakes as growth rate declines to 3.2% in the second quarter of 2023. Industry sector continues to record negative growth. Market over tenancy issues. More as the wood dealers. Guta accuses GRA of intimidation and harassment of members. Details from a news conference addressed by the association on concerns over taxation and revenue mobilization by the authority. Plus, residents of Mensa protest bad roads in their community, threatening government will suffer the consequence at the ballot box in 2024 if it fails to fix the stretch before then. My name is Aisha Brian. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. We have sports, business, and world news coming up this afternoon. Do stay. Many thanks for choosing us. One person has been shot dead by armed individuals at Otumfuo Timber Market. The shooting incident was provoked by the arrival of some land guards who attempted to forcibly evict the occupants, allegedly under the instruction of the landowner, Eugenia Kwete. However, the wood dealers resisted the actions of the land guards, resulting in the tragic shooting incident. Krobia Santi, chairman of the Moose Timber Market, described the attack as unfortunate and stressed that they possess the necessary tenant documentation.
The land guards were stationed over here. You see the rubber pass here. So they start shooting them. So I went there to tell my people that they should come back. Unfortunately, one boy was shot. He was beside me. We were shot.
The man that was shot was beside you?
No, the one who had been killed is with me.
He works under you? Okay. So is it the case that he was in front when they were advancing towards the land guards that they shot and killed him?
The land guards were advancing to this place.
Okay.
And I told my people not to confront them. So immediately I went them, bringing them back. The guys started shooting. There were 5 of them holding pistols. So the immediate one, he shot me. The boy was on my right side here, and the boy was killed. But I hold the bullets.
How were you able to hold the bullets?
You know it.
How were you able to hold the bullets?
I hold it because I know what I'm talking about. I know where I'm coming from.
Yes. How?
It's true. My name is Subribi Krobiasan.
Yes. And then so you held the bullet with your own
hands, and then one of it went here.
I see. So what is your next step? What are you going to do?
We've reported to the ITV. We are sending a message to the president. Come and look what that woman is doing. They have to come and look at it.
So is it the case that you're not going to give the land back to her because you have paid for it?
We've not bought the land. We've rented it. And she's collecting our rent. See, that's it. And you cannot give us 1 day. You can go inside there and look at the structures, the goods, and these stores. How can you give a person 1 day to evacuate? And we have agreement with you that when you are collecting 7,000 and we are paying it.
All right.
Some of the wood dealers say they will resist any attempts to evict them.
The woman was here even yesterday. She sent his boys to come and collect their rents. But by just immediate, we sent some land guards to come and remove from here. But that's unfair. You understand? It's unfair. So now the boys take an action because. You see, boys are here. We are working. Me, I work here. I'm a driver. You see. So we ask you to come and take us from here just like that.
For us here, we know we are paying the woman. So we want the woman to sit down with the executives and tell them whatever he wants us to do. Because we make agreements with us that you collect the district and we are paying it. So what again? If you want to tell us that you want to sack us from here, you sit down with us, give us time, then we deliberate, and if the time reaches, we move from here.
The police, however, says it has restored calm in the area. Now to other stories. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has charged its members to resist any form of harassment and intimidation from officers of the Ghana Revenue Authority. The union has, among other things, accused the GRA of intercepting their cargoes on transit from Accra to other regions on allegations of under-declaration of goods. Dr. Joseph Obin, president of the association, addressed the news conference.
The 12% tax contribution from Asante commensurate with the business activities in that region, as most of the corporate entities with branches in Ashanti and other regions pay their taxes in the national capital, Accra, as well as payment of duties. Furthermore, I repeat, the 12% tax contribution from Ashanti commensurate with the business activities in that region, as most of the corporate entities with branches in Ashanti and other regions pay their taxes in the national capital, Accra, as well as payment of import duty. What we want the GRA to know is that GUTA has no problem at all if GRA does its due diligences at the port and collect the legitimate tax due it before the cargoes are released. I want to repeat here that what we want the GRA to know is that GUTA has, if GRA does its due diligences at the port and collect the legitimate due it before the cargoes are released. However, we will no longer tolerate any such act of intercepting our cargoes after leaving the port. If anything at all, the externalities of COVID-19 pandemic and geopolitics have affected the business community more, and we can no longer entertain any abuse of authority from any quarter in carrying out our legitimate businesses. As if that is not enough, GRA also goes further to frustrate members of the business community, especially traders, by sending what they call invigilators to sit in our shops and monitor our sales as if we are in a police state, which perceives business operators as criminals.
The minority in parliament is accusing President Otumfuo of unlawfully asking state oil company GNPC to borrow to fund its work plan without the approval of parliament. Just before parliament went on recess, GNPC sought approval of the Mines and Energy Committee to borrow more than 600 million, but the committee said the company must bring the terms and conditions of the loan to the House for consideration. However, the minority says President Otumfuo has asked GNPC to proceed to borrow in contravention of Ghana's laws. John Jenapo is minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy.
The Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy, under the chairmanship of Honorable Atachia, submitted the report of the Committee on Mines and Energy on the 2023 work program of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, which is GNPC. Indeed, this is a constitutional requirement, and so we consider that in the third session of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana, one of the key issues that came up for consideration was a request by GNPC to raise an amount of $620 million in a form of a loan facility from Letasco. Indeed, Parliament took a decision that it cannot approve that amount in their work program. In fact, Parliament directed, and I read, the committee recommends to GNPC to lay the terms and conditions of the intended loan for consideration of the House in accordance with Article 181 of the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, to our utmost shock, I have come across documents, and the minority side in particular have become aware that the presidency is using coercive force, the power of the presidency, to compel GNPC to proceed and execute this loan agreement without parliamentary approval. The presidency called a meeting on 14th of September at 11 a.m. GMT. The presidency directed GNPC to seek for board approval and proceed to raise a total amount of 431 million United States dollars without parliamentary approval. I therefore want to call on the GNPC chief executive and the board that if you proceed with this directive, you'll be committing an illegality. And the minority wish to serve notice that we shall use every necessary tool available to ensure that we do what is right and legal.
John Jenapo says copies of the loan terms their side have intercepted is completely skewed against Ghana, as the country will lose more than 5 years of oil revenue from the 10 oil field.
Allow this government to plunder our oil resources. It will affect future generations. As if this is not enough, another document that was intercepted at the board level of the GNPC has 5 main components: the deed of indebtedness, the joint crude oil supply and purchase agreement, the prepayment facility agreement, the guarantee facility agreement, and the crude oil supply and purchase agreement. The key in this has to do with the fact that GNPC is raising this facility from Letasco and Look Oil, and in return, they are giving out our oil to this company for the next 5.5 years. Indeed, all of the oil in the 10 fields has been encumbered, including royalties, including surface rentals, and our carried and participating interest. All of it for the next 5.5 years would be escrowed to this company. More importantly, every year, a minimum of 3.8 million barrels of our crude oil will be given to Letasco for this loan that is being raised. No one even knows what exactly they want to use the money for, apart from some repayment of debt. In addition to that, they are charging an interest of SOFR plus margin. And when you look at the document, and I refer you to page 5 of the document, apart from the SOFR, the margin goes up to about 9.5% in respect of tranche B. So you pay the SOFR rate and add 9.5% on that amount. This is mind-boggling. you cannot plunder our oil resources in the way and manner in which the Otumfuo government is going about. This is a government that received over $1.4 billion of oil receipts last year, the highest ever. And yet, despite receiving all these huge revenues from our oil sales, you want to take 400 million today and mortgage our future for the next 5.5 years and escrow the whole of the 10-field oil. And when the 10-field oil is not even enough, in this agreement, they are committing that they can extend it to other oils.
Drivers in the Mensa area of the Ashanti region say government risk facing their wrath in the 2024 elections if it fails to fix their bad roads within the month. During a demonstration to press home their demand, the drivers lamented the effects of the deplorable state of the road on the economic activities. They brandished placards and burned ties to impress on President Otumfuo to honor a promise he made to them in fixing the roads in question. Mahmoud Mohamed Nouruddin has more.
The drivers took to the street, parking their vehicles in protest of government's seeming neglect of the deteriorating roads in the area. They are bitter about the deadly potholes and gullies, which have exposed commuters to increasing robbery attacks, as well as severe impact on economic activities. Kwabena say one of the drivers voiced the pain of his colleagues.
As from an area, and the Excellency of Vice President, Honorable Dr. Babu.
The Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia once visited this area and his vehicle got stuck on the road. He left the car behind. Gold in Ghana is mostly sourced from Mensa, but our roads are bad. This area is better, but if you move further, the roads there are bad. Most of the cars are not working, and as the passengers said it is difficult to get a car in the evening. Initially, we used to move passengers twice a day, but now we can't because you will suffer from body pains, and even the maintenance is expensive. We are pleading with the government, the Deputy Minister of Agric, and other MPs, usually using this route, but we don't know what they are doing about the situation. We have complained enough, and the meetings have been endless.
He went on to warn that if the status quo remains unchanged, drivers may have no choice but to double transport fares to cover the swelling cost of maintaining their damaged vehicles.
Yeni had the brother say some roller fair no 26. Multiply by 2. I'm an become 50 cities.
The drivers highlighted a broken promise made by the president, recounting a visit to a funeral where he assured the community that the road would be fixed within 6 months.
The
road is so bad to the extent that you are even afraid to give out your car for work. The community members themselves have had to hire a car to be conveying sand to help fix the road. Even as a driver, I refuse to pick up passengers after 5 p.m. because of the state of the road. So I am pleading with government to help fix the road.
Especially
during the protest, drivers donned red armbands and brandished placards bearing bold messages such as 2024 we could show NPP, Afedie Ameyen, Mensa Road 2 deserves asphalt, and also Mensa, do we have leaders? These messages resonated with the frustration of the drivers who feel their pleas have fallen on deaf ears for far too long. The drivers blocked key routes to stress the challenges of navigating those roads. The drivers are calling on government to fulfill their promise and urgently repair the roads or risk facing the consequences at the ballot box in 2024.
The just released GDP figures by the Ghana Statistical Service show a decline in growth of the Ghanaian economy, with the industry sector recording negative growth again. The economy in the second quarter of 2023 slowed to 3.2%, which is relatively smaller than what was recorded last year. Fishing, construction, electricity, and manufacturing subsectors all contracted. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kwabenanim also revised the first quarter growth rate from the earlier 4.2% to 3.3%.
2013 as a base year period. We start with current prices from an oil and a non-oil perspective. From an oil perspective, provisional 2023 quarter 2 GDP estimate stands at 185.7 billion for the second quarter of 2023 relative to 130.7 billion for the same period, second quarter 2022, indicating about a 55 billion difference between 2022 quarter 2 and 2023 quarter 2. Then from an oil perspective, for the period April to June 2023, a non-oil GDP recorded 175.1 billion Ghana cedis for the second quarter of 2023, relative to 121.4 billion for the same period, second quarter 2022. Turning to the adjustment for prices, GDP in constant terms, for the period April to June 2023, second quarter 2023, we recorded 42.1 billion for the second quarter of 2023, relative to 40.8 billion for the same period, second quarter 2022, indicating a 1.3 billion difference in terms of value of GDP constant terms between 2022 and 2023. From a non-oil perspective, 39.7 billion for the second quarter of 2023 relative to 38.5 billion for the same period, second quarter of 2022. From a constant perspective, oil GDP grew in the second quarter by 3.2%, and this indicates a 0.3 percentage drop for the same growth rate that was recorded for the second quarter of 2022. In the second quarter of 2022, the economy grew by 3.5%, and in the second quarter of 2023, we have seen the economy growing by 3.2%, indicating a slowdown in the growth rate relative to the same period, second quarter 2022. From a non-oil perspective, we equally recorded a growth rate of 3.2% between the second quarter of 2022 and the second quarter of 2023. This indicates a 1.6 percentage point slowdown for the period 2021 quarter 2.
My colleague Isaac Kofi with the research deck has been studying the data. He joins me in studio with more. Kofi, give us a sector-by-sector breakdown of the figures.
So, Aisha, the headline figure for the economic growth is 3.2%. So the economy has actually expanded by 3.2%. But the reason why we are saying the economy has slowed down is that if you compare this 3.2% in the second quarter of 2022, to that of 2022, there is some sort of significant difference. That's why we say the economy has slowed down.
Okay.
But if you look at the sector-by-sector analysis, the agricultural sector increased or grew by 1.3%. Some of the subsectors under the agri sector actually contracted. So, for instance, forestry, we know there's issue with galamsey. Forestry and logging actually contracted by 1.1%. Industry sector continues to record negative growth rate. This time around in the second quarter of 2023, it was 0.8% reduction. If you look at the subsectors that contracted under the industry sector, we have construction contracting by 3.1%, electricity also reducing by 1.2%, manufacturing 0.1%, water supply, management and remediation activities 0.1%, and in the services sector, we have it growing by 2.6%. But we have subsectors under the services sector, such as repair of vehicles and household goods, all contracting by 0.9%.
We understand that the second quarter growth rate has been revised.
Yeah.
What necessitated this revision?
So the government assistant has been explaining, according to him, the data that they have for the first quarter was provisional data. But if they look at the final data that they have, they recorded a growth rate of more than 10% for the services sector, and they've revised this growth rate to 6%. So in the first quarter, you do not have the 4.2% growth rate that was recorded earlier, but now it's around 3.3% in the first quarter. So the economy has actually contracted by some sort of, significant, very significant, from a 4.2 to what we have around 3.2% in 2023.
Kofi J is with our research desk. He's been explaining and breaking the latest information from the Ghana Statistical Service on the second quarter of the economy. Now, former Police Commissioner George Alexander Mensa is warming up to delegate of the NPP in his bid to represent the Bekwai constituency in the upcoming parliamentary elections. His road safety campaign in the area has soared his popularity among constituents. At least 5 people have declared their intention to contest in the NPP parliamentary primaries as incumbent MP Joseph Sewusu prepares to take a bow. Nanaya Ojima was at the constituency after George Alex Mensa declared his intentions and has filed this report.
The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osewusu, is expected to exit Parliament after serving the Bekwai constituency since 2009. This decision has since emboldened about 5 people to put themselves up for the upcoming parliamentary primary in Bekwai. COP George Alex Mensa, who recently appeared before the parliamentary committee over an alleged plot to oust the Inspector General of Police, answered questions bordering his political affiliation.
You have been an MPP member long time before you joined the service, is that correct? Mr. Chairman, my family has been with the UP tradition ever since I was born, and remained there till now.
Upon his retirement from the police service last week, his interest in becoming the MP was confirmed. Anriam Kwanta is the biggest transit point in the Bekwai constituency. To the people here, Alex Mensa is known as the police officer who has shown interest in road safety campaigns. Stickers of the campaign are widespread.
He has helped educate all the drivers here. In the local language, he breaks down all the traffic regulations.
Station master at Anyan Kwanta, Kwejo Boatin Papalupa, speaks of Alex Mensa's popularity among the people.
Because
we are hoping that the COP comes and continue what the present MP is doing. We need people of such caliber to come and help develop Bekwai. If the COP becomes MP, the recent MP can also climb up the political ladder to help us.
Na one will be MP no say usu to me boa kosoro no su konya ba akeka ho yes enya mienu ebema bekwai yempuntuo no akone ni ma dia aboa yen.
JoyNews sources reveal a campaign team of the aspirant has already started engaging party delegates.
Endi wono no ba na ye be hia endi campaign dia na ya dwene say
he has met us. We decided to keep the campaign very low due to the flag bearership race. Immediately nominations are opened, the campaign will be enhanced.
It is believed that some party bigwigs are galvanizing support for the campaign. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
17 prospective applicants of the ongoing limited voters registration exercise have been involved in a motor accident on the Tamale-Kintampo Highway at Sola, a suburb of Central Gonja district in the Savannah region. 3 applicants are in critical condition and 15 others are on admission at the Buipe Hospital. We'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletin, but in Accra, 4 out of the 6 Tema West NPP executives are currently on admission at Tema General Hospital receiving care following last night's accident on the Tema Beach Road. The other 2 are said to have been discharged after being treated. Chairman for the constituency, Kwesi Poku Bosempem, tells Joy News the victims were returning home after monitoring the ongoing special voter registration exercise. According to him, the accident occurred after 9 p.m. last night. We'll take a break on JoyNews Today. When we return, there is more coming in business.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Pan-African Technology Solutions provider CWG Ghana has stated that it will continue to invest in the country to help drive government's agenda of expanding technology. The company, which provides technology solutions to communication firms and financial institutions as well, has maintained that leveraging technology could help create jobs for thousands of Ghanaians. Now, the following report has more.
The company, which began operations in Ghana 20 years ago, has been able to increase its reach across various sectors of Ghana's economy. Focusing on Pan-African system solutions, CWG maintains that Africans can develop unique technologies to solve challenges facing the continent. Speaking at the company's 20th anniversary launch in Accra, Managing Director of CWG Ghana, Harriet Atram Yati, said the company will continue to explore new markets.
Without directly mentioning names because of corporate governance, we may have to seek permission before we mention customers' names, but we'll have quite a number of customers, major telecoms in Ghana, some of the big banks in Ghana. We have supported them on their IT infrastructure, on enterprise solutions, applications, among others. And all these years we have been, we've had some customers as old as inception of CWG Ghana in 2003. We had a major bank as one of our first customers, and they are still with us today. One of the telcos that we also acquired years after incorporation is still a customer to CWG, and this is a testament that CWG indeed gives peace of mind.
On his part, the chairman CWG Ghana, Austin Kwesi Okere, said it is important to create a competitive environment in the tech space to allow African tech companies to expand beyond their home countries.
Our anchor customer, MTN, with whom we're doing a global annual revenue of $35 million, had selected Ghana as our West African hub. Obviously, they must have done very serious due diligence. So we latched on to that due diligence and followed them, being our biggest customer, by establishing CWG Ghana as our West Africa hub as well.
Now, the social initiative wing of leading telecoms company Airtel Touching Lives has organized a blood donation exercise. The move is to ensure the well-being of society and champion sickle cell awareness. Speaking to Joy Business, Chief Executive Officer of Airtel Leos Katolos, explained that giving back to the society through corporate social initiatives will help improve the socio-economic developments of society.
September is marked as World Sickle Cell Awareness Month. According to reports, millions of people across the world do not know their sickle cell status because of the non-revealing nature of the trait. Here in Ghana, AT Touching Lives, the social initiative wing of leading telecoms company AT, is on a journey to champion sickle cell awareness. The third edition of the AT Touching Lives Sickle Cell Edition saw customers and members of the community throng the office of AT for diagnosis. Chief Executive Officer of AT, Leos Kalatos, explains the initiative.
It's giving back to our society. We've worked very hard to retain our customer base for the 30 years that AT has been here. And we feel that one of the best ways that we as a relatively smaller company can do that is by focusing on sickle cell and the sickle cell disease that plagues so many of us. And with the blood donation, we feel is one of the best ways that with blood donation drive, right now we're doing it once a year, but we hope to increase this to quarterly, to be able to help our sickle cell warriors. And that's why I was doing that, by touching as many lives as we can with what we can. And that's blood.
Head of Brands and Communications at AT, Nancy Aso Asiedu Amrado, explains the impact of the project.
So if you follow us on YouTube, you still have access to all these videos where we've got even patients telling us real life situation about how they are living with the sickle cell condition and how they are managing. We even had a woman who was as old as, I think, 87 years, who was still living with the disease, and she was telling us about how she's been able to manage herself since she got to know about the disease. So we've done a lot of education about it, and out of that we give birth to this blood donation exercise.
Principal Blood Donor Recruitment Officer at the National Blood Service, Ghana, Sophia Melis Blankson, urged companies to emulate AT and donate to save lives.
So the whole country needs about 300,000 units of blood annually, and what we get is woefully inadequate, woefully inadequate, so down. When you go to other African countries, even those who are surrounding us, some of them are doing 80–90% voluntary blood donation. Ghana is doing just a little above 30%. That is even before COVID. After COVID, it's even far lower. And so it means that we are not getting the supplies that we need. And so that is how come when we see such partnerships, we are so happy and we gladly hold on to them.
And that's all for business for now. I am Pius Kojobaka. We'll be back at 1 p.m. with the Marketplace. Sports is next.
Now on JoyNews Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abda. The Black Queens will be in action in the next 15 minutes against Rwanda as they start the qualification series for next year's African Women's Cup of Nations. Head coach of the team, Nora Hoftel, has already released her squad, 11 players, for that tie against Rwanda. But before that, she says that the girls are ready for the task ahead of them.
Here in Kigali, in the King's Palace Stadium, and we had a short preparation. We flew here with half of the team Sunday. Some players, they still played on the weekend and arrived yesterday. So we had yesterday an easy session with half of the squad. Today, final session already with the full team. It was bringing the focus on the tactical objectives, getting used to the AstroTurf. It's a bit new because we always play on grass, but we like it because we are a possession team and want to dominate the game always. So when the ball is rolling quick, we do like it. So for tomorrow, yeah, we of course it's to be smart in our decision who we bring on the pitch. It's a new regulation, so we are only allowed here to bring 18 players. With 3 substitutes, so it's a bit the question who is fresh, who is in championship rhythm. So those criteria are quite important to bring the squad on the pitch. So we have some good substitutes on the bench that we can add something to the game. We are pretty convinced that we're going to win the game tomorrow. We have a good mood, as you saw behind me, and we have a good focus also. We know what our job is, and so we will have a successful game tomorrow.
That game is happening in the next 15 minutes. Ghana versus Rwanda, and the head coach has released the squad for this tie, and the Cynthia is going to be in post. Janet Ejiri, the skipper of the side, is in defense. There's a place for Jennifer Kujo, Doris Buedua, Princely Edubia, Echia Anastasia, Evelyn Bedu, Justice Trinibua, Portia Boachi, Alice Kusi, and Grace Echampon. Portia Boachi is back to the lineup, so she leads the team later today as the game kicks off in the next 15 minutes. Ghana versus Rwanda, the start qualification series for next year's African Women's Cup of Nations. Now let's do some UEFA Champions League football, and tonight the competition continues as it made a return on a Tuesday, and later tonight on Joy 99.7 you will have Manchester United versus Bayern Munich. We'll bring you live commentary of that game, and also we have Galatasaray coming up against Copenhagen. There's a place for Arsenal versus PSV Eindhoven, and also Sevilla versus Lens, Real Madrid versus Union Berlin, FC Braga will come up against Napoli, Benfica versus Salzburg, and Real Sociedad will come up against Inter Milan. Inter Milan, they were finalists in the UEFA Champions League for last season, losing the competition, the grand finale against Manchester City with Rodrigo scoring the only goal. They are seeking to have another perfect run in the competition once again. This is our wrap-up sports here with me, Muftau Nabida Abda. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. Up next is World News.
And you're welcome to the Showbiz segment on Joy News Today. And let's get into the studios of Hits 103.9 FM. We're joined 77, a defunct member of the Shatta movement and also a very close pal of Shatta Wale, who happened to be in Shatta Wale's inner circle, as saying that he's going to contribute a car to Shatta's business. You know, joined 77 broke off the SM movement for some time now. And on the show, he also insinuated that Shatta Wale had something to do with his hacked Facebook account. This is the conversation that happened or transpired between Joint and Andy Dusty on Daybreak Hits on Hits 103.9 FM.
My Facebook hacked all is because of...
Hey, really?
I won't lie to you. My Facebook got hacked and Shatta came to write on the Facebook, "Thank you, Malam. Thank you, my Malam."
Oh, Masama. But what does that got to do with? That's what I'm saying. Listen, once you get to that,
this thing, so you know they help the industry.
I don't know why.
Maybe Shatta Wale, I'm your leg. See, when you cut me off, you've cut one of your leg without knowing. So you just have to. You know,
I am saying let's not discuss, and you are still bringing this name up.
You know, the things he came to do here on the show the other day. You see, the thing has affected.
Why Malams? Do they?
He said he's thanking his Malam that my Facebook has been hacked. How? Like, I mean, how? You don't have to.
I don't want to talk about that.
You know, but shout out to him, though. I still have a car for him, though.
Well, the most important thing in the conversation was the fact that he ended up saying, shout out to Shatta Wale, and he still has a car for Shatta Wale for his Shagzi business. Let's look at Nigeria. So there's been a peaceful demonstration by Nigerians calling for justice for Mohbad, and this has happened in 4 states, and today it is going to happen in Lagos. Possibly as I'm talking to you now, it's even happening. Well, they have taken to the streets in a peaceful demonstration calling for justice for the musician Mohbad, who passed on somewhere last week. And on Monday, parents of Mohbad together with the police met a part of the media to announce that they're going to be launching a full investigation into the death of the musician. Now, this is what has been happening in some parts of Nigeria.
That's our wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. We are the world.